Well, Tiger fans, we've made it to the midway point of the season. It's the round 14 bye for the Tigers, and it's time to do a mid-season review. And I know we did a nice little one on the Monday night show for those who caught that. We appreciate your input there. But I just wanted to do a separate video just to share my thoughts in its entirety, and more so to get your thoughts in the comments below as well. But what a year it's been so far, I guess. I remember back to the pre-season game against West Coast and Collingwood, the West Coast one in particular, where we looked just bang up ordinary, and there was maybe some like 2.5 to 3 minute glimpses of what we might look like with the ball movement, and other than that, we were pretty much non-existent in a lot of factors. I know that team was extraordinarily young and hadn't even played together very much, but it didn't fill me with a lot of confidence, and then I guess media people see that, and then that starts fueling speculation about the possibility of 0 wins for the year. Mark Bickley obviously went with it, which we called him out on, and it got some airtime on the radio, which was good fun. But honestly, all shits and giggles aside, having a winless season, I think for a lot of Richmond supporters, while we didn't want to acknowledge it and we didn't want to give it the time of day because we just didn't think it could be possible, there's certainly elements of doubt that crept into my mind, at least. I thought, maybe it is possible. I mean, I looked at the first 9 games of the year and I had us at 0-9. In early days, I maybe thought that St Kilda might have been our best chance to get a result, just because of their form was maybe a little bit questionable. I wasn't fully sold on the Ross Lyon front. West Coast, I probably thought they were going to progress a bit this year. Kangaroos, I thought they were going to be a bit more progressed this year. And I didn't think we would be in the same kind of areas as those sides as what we are currently. So that's a big tick for me. The fact that we won the first game of the year against Carlton is just phenomenal. It still blows my mind that even happened, because I don't think you would find a single Richmond supporter that went into that game thinking we would win. And I don't think you would find a single Carlton supporter thinking they were even a remote chance of losing that. That should have been the closest thing to a certainty that they've had all year. And for us to pull that win out was nothing short of remarkable. And what it did, though, is it actually took all the stress and the weight of expectation off the rest of the season in one night. Because if you imagine we drop that game by 30, 40 points, and then you don't win your next 4 or 5, so the pressure builds, and then all the talk about a winless season keeps starting and getting stronger and stronger. Then the pressure builds, and everyone gets a bit anxious watching us play. The players might start to feel it, and it's just a big snowball effect. So I really do believe that we've seen the footy that we've seen so far in terms of being competitive in a lot of games and almost winning a couple of extra games, largely because we won that round 1 clash. And just the amount of pressure that took off our players' shoulders, I don't think can be understated. And then you push forward to the Gold Coast game. Again, no one went into that game thinking we were going to win, not even Richmond supporters. The Suns were undefeated at the time, absolutely flying, unquestionably the team to beat. And it was at Marvel, which hasn't always been a happy hunting ground for us. Neither it hasn't been for Dimmer either, I suppose. But to come away with that win, I think that's been our most impressive win for the season. As much as I loved the Carlton game, and it was unexpected, I felt that this was really unexpected, and just probably more about the manner in which we built the lead was pretty impressive with the type of football we were playing. And look, there's no doubt about it. If that game went for an extra 2 minutes, we probably would have lost. But you know what? It didn't, and we got the 4 points in the bag, and that's all that really counts. So that was a massive occasion for Richmond fans. And then the West Coast game, I mean, we've just talked about 2 games that we didn't think we were a chance of winning at all, and we won, which is wonderful. And now you got the West Coast game, and we've been able to actually win a game that we thought we should win, which isn't something inexperienced and really young sides in a rebuild often do. They'll often fall short of the line. Other teams will get the wood on them, and they'll push ahead and sense a bit of weakness. So the fact that we've been able to win a game that we were expected to win, I think is another really good tick for this year. 2024, we won 2 games. We were playing shithouse. It was a difficult year to watch. We had players checked out. We had no one on the same page. We had plenty of players missing from various fitness-related issues, shall we say. And it was just a complete dog's breakfast. But 2025, look, I know we're not seeing what we want to see for 4 quarters just yet. And I don't think we should get hung up on that either. I still see far too many comments from people saying, oh, we're not playing for 4 quarters, or we've got no game plan despite winning the first half of football, playing exciting football. It's like, well, no, we do have a game plan. We just can't do it for the full duration yet. So we're still going to keep perspective, but we're definitely playing a more exciting brand when our game's played the way we want it played. You look at the GWS game as the most recent example. Like we had said a few times, we were legitimately 2 goals away in the second quarter from putting away a top 4 fantasy side on their home deck in a half of football. Like, just have a think about how absurd that is. And I know it didn't eventuate, and I know we botched it at the end and they got us by 3 points. But accuracy in front of goal is a thing that will improve over time. And it's mighty frustrating that we've had bad kicking in a couple of games recently. But you can't not be happy and proud about how we got ourselves into that winning position to start with. And whilst disappointing that we didn't hold on, the fact that we were even in that position to begin with to almost knock the Giants out of a game and a half of football is nothing short of remarkable. And with the inexperience that we've got out there, with the little blend of experience, I mean, Dion Presley's return's been huge. I know a lot of us, including us on our show, we didn't think he would have too much impact. He's proved us wrong, and long may it continue, to be honest, because he's definitely been a huge help for us out in the midfield, which has been wonderful. But yeah, look, I think Uze deserves a bit of a pat on the back here as well. I think it's from all the comments and the stuff I see on the forums and on the websites and Twitter and Facebook, it's really, really easy for people to come out of the woodwork and criticise him when we have a loss like the Sydney game. That's the easy way out. But you never see those same people patting him on the back when we're smashing the Giants or when we beat the Gold Coast Suns. There's always something wrong with it. And I just think that in games like the Sydney one, some of the ownership, or a lot of the ownership for me, has to go to the players. Uze's not telling them to miss shots at goal. Uze's not telling them not to try. And he's not telling them just to be pedestrian-like and give up. So that's on the playing group. And there's still an experienced enough core group of players out there that they would not be happy with what they dished up against the Swans, and I've got no doubt they'll go to work and rectify it. Could have Uze flicked the magnets around? Absolutely. I agree 100% there. I also understand the point of view that maybe Uze's letting these guys fend for themselves and try and dig themselves out of a hole rather than bailing them out with an easy out. Oh, he's playing shit in that position. All right, we'll just remove him. It's like, I mean, that might work. Will that player have learnt anything? Maybe not. So maybe this is more about a learning that if you are in a rut, if you are in a hole, what do you then do as a player to find a way to get out of that hole and bring yourself back up to an acceptable level? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. And that's part of our developmental and our learning cycle. The game plan, one of the most frequent comments I see on my videos, on other videos, other platforms, is that people get frustrated that we're playing one game style, we don't change it up enough. And I've probably had those same feelings and frustrations as well at times. But then someone like Tiggs comes on the show on Wednesday night who's got people in the football industry that he speaks to, and they put a new perspective on it. And it's a really good one, because you might remember back in pre-season, a lot of coaches complain, identify, whatever you want to call it, that you don't really get much time with the players when they're back from their season these days. Like, you actually don't get long to teach or implement new things, especially if you're a new coach. So that, added with the amount of new players we had in their second year, their first year, the fact that Uze wants to have his game style, you can't teach the full game plan in one off season. It's impossible. Let's say our game plan consists of 4 layers. If you were to try and teach all 4 layers in one off season, it would be an absolute shambles, diabolical clusterfuck, whatever you want to call it. It would be horrible to watch. No one would learn it. No one would understand it. The young kids would have no idea what's happening, and it would just look horrific. So what Tiggs and his footy mates have advised is that they're going with layer 1 this year. Let's play layer 1 week in, week out, so everyone understands it, everyone learns it, and it's being played out in real time. They'll train it, they'll play it, they'll train it, they'll play it, and it just gets embedded. And then as the years go on, we add the next layer, add the next layer. So it's a gradual build to complete that 4-layer of game plan. It might be 3. I'm just guessing 4, but whatever the amount is, you know what I mean. And it actually makes a lot of sense. And the big downside to that, from a game day perspective, is it's much easier for opposition to pick it apart because you're playing the same way for 98% of the game, if not 100% of the game. So they'll identify that early, they'll pick it apart, they'll go to work on it, and that's why we end up getting mowed down. That's why momentum changes against us happen so quickly. And it's probably why we can't close out games just yet, because we haven't equipped ourselves with the next part of the layer to be able to do those things. And that will come. That will come with time. And it's frustrating, and I understand the frustration when watching it, but I'm hoping a video like this helps bring some understanding to it, so you can maybe when you're watching it next time go, yep, annoying, but I get it. And look, sure, next year, if we don't see any tweaks and changes or additions to the game plan, and it's the same again, fair enough, cause for concern, completely get it, and I'd be on the same page. But from what the people in the footy industry reckon, is that we're just building nicely and just teaching it bit by bit, which I think makes sense. So with that all being said and done, we then come to the draftees we've got. What a super crop of talented players that we have been lucky enough to have walk into our doors in the off-season. Sam Lawler keeps showing why he was picked as the number 1 pick. Obviously, a bit frustrating he's not out there at the moment, but he shows great composure in traffic, a great mark, a great shot for goal, and he's going to be a super player. Josh Smiley, haven't seen him yet, but we're hoping that that's going to come to life. Taj Houghton, haven't seen him yet, hoping that's going to come to life very, very soon. Jonty Fall played some really good games, shows some really good traits. He's a competitive animal, strong mark of the ball, good work rate. He's kicking for goal, probably yet to be determined. He's probably missed a couple he'd like to have back, but he's going to be a good player long term, make no mistake about it. Luke Traynor, probably one of our best so far in terms of the young kids. He's going to be an absolute steal at the pick we got him at. I personally like Luke Traynor, the wingman. I think he can make that his spot his own. Needs a bit more of a tank to obviously execute it properly, but he's got the skill set, he's got the height, he's got the footy IQ, more importantly, that I think can really set him apart from other players. And whilst the back line's kind of full at the moment, I like him as a winger, so I'm happy for that to continue. Harry Armstrong, he looked good really early. Probably one of our better shots for goal out of the draftee crop. Obviously went down with the hamstring. He'll be back in the latter part of the year. Sounds like he's put on some upper body size, which is kind of good. But I'm looking forward to seeing what he gets back to later on this year. He will be one that teams will look back at and wonder how on earth did he get into the 20s in the draft. Absolute madness. Tom Sims, he's probably been the one that surprised me the most, if I'm being honest. I didn't expect Sims to play games this year. And not only has he played games, but he's probably looked really at home for a portion of them as well. The GWS game, 7 marks, 3 contested marks. He's got good traits to be a good footballer. And I've got no doubt he will end up being our number 1 ruckman when the timing's right. So he's going to be an absolute ripper. And then Jasper Alger, well, he's still yet to play, but I'm sure you all know my thoughts on him already. A huge fan. I think he'll get his chance soon enough. And I think when he comes into the AFL side, I think he'll do some good things from hitting the scoreboard. He'll take some nice marks down forward, and I think he'll actually add a bit more of an X-factor dynamic to our forward line that we haven't really had so far. So that's the draftees. Super happy with them so far. We've seemingly nailed that draft to this point in time, which is good. To conclude, I want to give it a school grade marking. I'm going to say a B. I'll give us a B as the grading for the the mid-year report. And that's because we've exceeded the amount of wins that we had last year. We're playing a good brand of football when the game's on our terms, and that's going to extend to be longer and longer and longer. The draftees have done well, and the fact that we knocked off Carlton and Gold Coast, games that we shouldn't have won, I thought was a really, really good and positive sign. What will it take to get it to an A or an A+? For me, we would need to win another 2 or 3 games, and it's frustrating because we obviously just fell short in a few games. But you'd want to get to 5 or 6 wins, no 100-point losses, and I'd want us to kick at least 100 points once. If we can do all of those things in the back half of the year, I would 100% give this season an A or an A+. But yeah, that's my ranking. Keen to hear what you guys and girls think in the comments below. What would you give it in the old school ranking system? A, B, C, D, whatever it might be. Let us know what you think. And let us know what other mid-season thoughts you got as well. And hopefully we can have a big second half of the year.